and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1834B, and today's date is April 5th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Deep State Trap. Their move was just blocked, no place to hide. Now, before we get started, I want to talk about security and VPNs. Why are countries banning the use of VPNs? It's simple. VPNs are not only powerful, but extremely useful for well-informed citizens. Is the United States next? Let's hope not, as your privacy is yours and only yours. I personally like Virtual Shield VPN. They are by far the easiest and fastest VPN around. This month, Virtual Shield is offering an Easter special of 40% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is all about. You have nothing to lose. Get 40% off this month clicking the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are completely trapped. I mean, they're trying everything and anything, using propaganda to the max, and it's all failing. They're being blocked. They don't know what else to do. They know what's coming, and they're panicking. Biden is digging his own hole. There's more and more people coming out, and he's just brushing it off. He's saying this is okay. And the mainstream media, the Democrats, they're all like, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Wow. Just a couple months ago, they were all crazy about Kavanaugh and their fake story that they created. And now with Biden, it's okay. And we know that Trump has been trolling Biden. Biden came out and said a few words about Trump. And Trump said, listen, I don't see Joe Biden as a threat. He's not a threat at all. Actually, he's a threat to himself. Why is he a threat to himself? Well, think about all the things that he did in Ukraine with his son, with Obama. Think about all the things he's done with China. Think about all the things he's done with individuals, with women and others that hasn't come out yet. But I'm sure it will. Just like many of the other individuals in Congress. Remember, Q has been telling us to watch the news for Rachel Chandler. We know there's a lot of people that are implicated in this. And they know if this information gets out there, they're all done. Now, Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, he is not backing down. He's going after it all. They announced and filed a Freedom of Information request lawsuit against the U.S. Department of State for communications between Obama Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs, Ambassador Victoria Nuland. Now, we know Victoria Nuland, she orchestrated the Ukrainian coup d'etat, and we know that she was involved in many other things. So let me continue. So Tom Fitton wants Victoria Nuland and employees of Fusion GPS, as well as top-ranking Department of Justice, FBI, and State Department officials. Remember, Nuland served as the Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs from September 2013 until January 2017. So Judicial Watch wants all the records of communications between Ambassador Nuland and any of the following individuals between January 1st, 2016 and January 25th, 2017. And this is a long list. Christopher Steele, Simpson, Nellie Orr, John Brennan, Loretta Lynch, Rod Rosenstein, Sally Yates, and it goes on and on. McCabe, Strzok, Page, Baker, the whole group, basically. And they're looking to get this information. The deep state is now in a full panic. They have nothing. Their investigation is fake. There's no basis for it. Look how desperate they are. Democrat chairs of 3 different committees sent a letter in March demanding Capital One Financial Corporation hand over all President Trump's financial records related to his businesses, real estate, and foreign investments. Now, of course, this sounds terrible. They're ordering all his financial records. House Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings, House Intel Chairman Adam Schiff, and Chairwoman of the Committee on Financial Services, Maxine Waters, all 3, addressed the letter to the CEO of Capital One. You know what Capital One said to them? They said, get a subpoena. They can't hand out private information. They're not just going to give it to them. Are they ridiculous? I mean, this is how desperate they are. They think, oh, we demand this, and they're just going to hand it over. Now, what's the basis of a subpoena? Can they show that there's a criminal activity? No, there's nothing. Actually, Republican members of the committees were not consulted on the Democrat inquiry into Trump's Capital One records. Representative Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan sent a letter to Capital One Financial Corporation letting them know the Democrats exceeded the committee's authority under House Rule X. This is what they wrote. We write to express to you our concerns with the inquiry as it exceeds the committee's legislative authority under House Rule X. In a letter sent April 3, 2019 to Capital One Financial Institutions. As we understand the focus of the request, it broadly seeks 15 separate categories and subcategories of material relating to the finances and holding of business entities previously associated with Trump. Jordan and Meadows note that the request also seeks all documents provided in response to any request, subpoena, inquiry, or investigations by any U.S. federal or state agency, including but not limited to the Office of the Special Counsel Robert Mueller III. The chairs do not consult with Republican members of the committee before initiating his inquiry. They state in their letter, we understand that your company has replied in writing to the request. However, we believe it is necessary to inform you directly about our concerns with this partisan and improper investigation. So why do you think they did this without telling anyone? Because they are desperate, out of control, and this investigation needs to be shut down. Trump tweeted out the following. Trolling the Mueller report, Democrats lost on collusion. Now they're inventing a cover-up. That's exactly what they're doing. They're inventing something that doesn't exist. There's no reason for an investigation. They just decided we're going to open this up. So let's say the House, the Senate, the Mueller report all saying no obstruction, no collusion, but they're still looking for what? I mean, shouldn't we be looking where there is a crime, where there is a cover-up, where we actually have evidence and facts? That's where we should be looking. Where is that? Well, if we look within the thousands of pages of testimony released over the past months, the public learns more about how the Bureau handled the probe into Clinton's use of a private server to send classified government emails and the investigation into the alleged, now debunked, Trump-Russia investigation. The information raises significant questions of malfeasance, obstruction, and bias in the investigation. The testimony of James Rybicki, who served as chief of staff to former FBI Director James Comey, is one of them. He left the FBI back in January of 2018 to work in the private sector and was often cited in the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz's report into the Bureau's investigation of Clinton. The Department of Justice tried to block access to Clinton's attorneys' laptops. Rybicki's testimony before the Joint Committee with the House Judiciary and House Government and Oversight last year reveals the intricate role of the Department of Justice in attempting to limit the FBI's ability to gain access to laptops belonging to two Clinton confidants, Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson. Rybicki's testimony, however, makes clear that the Department of Justice didn't want to give the FBI access to the laptops. It's also revealing in its nature, suggesting the FBI agents, which believe the laptops contain classified information, chose to act differently than it has in other similar cases. They did not use their prerogative to obtain a grand jury subpoena for the equipment or issue a warrant to gain possession of them. Instead, the FBI negotiated and relied heavily on those they were investigating, Clinton and her lawyers. They're the ones who set the terms of the deal. Now, according to then Chairman of the House Judiciary, Representative Bob Goodlatte, the FBI had a side agreement to destroy the laptops after conducting the limited search. On the other hand, other reports suggest that the FBI did not destroy the laptops, but instead are still in possession of them. Tom Fitton said mounting evidence suggests the Department of Justice and FBI were granting favoritism to Clinton during the mid-year investigation. He said, "We never received a full accounting of what happened to the laptop evidence." Now, when reviewing Rybicki's testimony, it stated that the Department of Justice did not want the FBI to have access to the 6 laptops in Clinton's lawyer's possession. And once the laptops were in the possession of the FBI, the access was extremely limited. Rybicki also recounts a meeting with then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, suggesting she, along with former FBI Director James Comey and others, discussed whether or not to pursue charges against Clinton. So who made the call to block the access? Well, Rybicki tells investigators that he can't recall who in the Department of Justice of the upper echelons made the decision. The investigator then asked him, "What do you mean by authorize? You said they didn't want to authorize?" "They didn't want to authorize access to any of it," he said. "Authorize to whom?" the investigator asked. "The FBI," Rybicki stated. So they didn't want to give access or authorize the FBI to do this. I wonder why. As we can see, this is a cover-up. These individuals were blocking an investigation. Q has told us that they removed all blocks. So Clinton doesn't have the protection. Now, tomorrow, which is Saturday, I interviewed Bill Binney and Harley Schlanger together. And Bill Binney has evidence that the DNC server was not hacked at all. And he explains this throughout the interview. Now, I'm going to try to get this up later Saturday morning. I'll email everyone who's on the list. And if not, you can just go to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel and look for the interview there. But it should be up by lunch. I'm finishing it up and adding graphics and things like that so you can see what he's talking about. So once again, we can see there's a huge cover-up here. And from all these transcripts and everything that we're seeing, we can see that they were blocking the real investigation. Now, Kirsten Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, he was employed by NXIVM, the sex cult. And this is according to court documents. An eyewitness describes how Gillibrand sat at the NXIVM table at Hillary Clinton's fundraiser. This is what the person said. The very first time I ever met Gillibrand, she was at an event for Hillary Clinton in the Hall of Springs in the State Park. This was in 2006. I was at a table with a Russian friend and Mike Ruhan and his wife. Gillibrand sat with one of the front tables. The 3 front VIP tables were all bought by NXIVM, and she was sitting with Nancy Salzman. Wait a minute. Where do we hear that name before? Nancy Salzman. Didn't Nancy Salzman just plead guilty to racketeering conspiracy while her daughter Lauren Salzman admitted to enslaving a woman? Holy. So Doug Rutnick came to work as a consultant for NXIVM. He was fired. They sued him, and he had to pay them $100,000. So Parlato is the NXIVM whistleblower who blew the lid off the case, including the revelation that NXIVM leader Keith Rainier's cult was branding women with his initials. Doug left the cult because he was sued. Now, if we go back to post 2128, Q says, why are powerful, influential people resigning due to past sexual misconduct allegations? Why are these allegations now surfacing 10-month span? Why now? Human trafficking arrests up. SA cooperating. NXIVM. When does a bird sing? In the spring. Eyes wide open. Coincidence? Network being dismantled. Sheep no more. I mean, this is just the beginning. Think about Esptein Island. Think about Rachel Chandler. Think about all the people that are involved with that. And we need to watch the news. Now, out on the border, we know that Trump is down at the southern border right now. He actually tweeted out that he's heading to the southern border to show a section of the new wall being built. And he said leaving now, but he's there now. Nancy Pelosi and a group of 20 states, led by California, they formally requested that a federal judge stop Trump from diverting federal funds to build his wall on the southern U.S. border. This is not going to work. It's a national emergency. And guess what? The president has the rule of law in his favor. These individuals who are trying to stop this, it is not going to work. And why are they trying so hard to stop a wall from going up? Is this going to stop the flow of illegals coming in? Absolutely. This is what they're most afraid of. Are they going to lose the popular vote because of this? Yes. Is it going to stop the flow of drugs, which they use to pay for a lot of their covert operations? Yes. Is it going to stop human trafficking? Yes. It's going to stop all this. This is why they're fighting so hard. They don't care about the American people. They don't care if thousands upon thousands of illegals come in. They were already exposed. That's what Trump and the Patriots have been doing. They've been exposing these individuals for who they really are. Now, Trump, once again, is disputing the report that came out of the Washington Post, claiming that its story about his decision to give Mexico 1 year to stop the flow of drugs and crimes into the U.S., they got it wrong. Now, he told Mexico, listen, you need to do something about all these illegals coming up through Mexico. You better do something, or we're going to slap tariffs on you, and we're going to close the southern border. Then all of a sudden, Mexico decided, okay, we're going to do something. Now, the Washington Post and the other mainstream media outlets, they're saying that's not true. Trump is out there saying it is. He tweeted out the following. The crazed and dishonest Washington Post, again, purposely got it wrong. Mexico, for the first time in decades, is meaningfully apprehending illegals at their southern border before the long march up to the U.S. This is great and the way it should be. This big flow will stop. However, if for any reason Mexico stops apprehending and bringing the illegals back to where they came from, the U.S. will be forced to tariff at 25% all cars made in Mexico and shipped over the border to us. If that doesn't work, which it will, I will close the border. This will supersede USMCA. Likewise, I'm looking at the economic penalty for the $500 billion in illegal drugs that are shipped and smuggled through Mexico and across the southern border. Over 100,000 Americans die each year. So many families destroyed. Now, think about what he's doing here. He didn't back off and say, I'm going to give Mexico another year. He used this as leverage. Think about if he places tariffs on the car manufacturing in Mexico. What do you think would happen to the car manufacturing in Mexico? Remember how that works. They have middlemen, and every time they sell the car to the middleman, those individuals, they pay the tariffs. It would hurt the car industry in Mexico, which would mean that the car manufacturers would say, you know what, it's no longer worth it. We're bringing them back to the United States. Maybe he should do it just to do it, to bring manufacturing back to the United States. But he used it as leverage and says if Mexico doesn't continue doing this for the next year, because we'll be watching, we will close the border. We will impose these tariffs. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she tweeted out the following. Does live from the border mean Party City? Fox is really out here doing the most on a budget to make the border look more dangerous than it is. Now, Lawrence Jones from Fox decided to respond to her tweet because she included his picture on the border. And he said, Congresswoman, I'm sure the Border Patrol, Laredo sector, would be happy to give you a full briefing on the crisis here on the border. How about you join me and see for yourself? We just captured eight illegals 3 minutes ago. Thankfully, they weren't armed like the others 2 days ago. Now remember, Trump said no Democrats have come down to the border to witness what was going on there. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is sitting up in Washington behind a desk, not seeing anything that is happening down at the border. Now, Trump is at the border and he has a message for all the illegals. Take a listen.
This is our new statement. The system is full. Can't take you anymore. whether it's asylum, whether it's anything you want. It's illegal immigration. Can't take you anymore. We can't take you. Our country is full. Our area is full. The sector is full. Can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. Can't happen. So turn around. That's the way it is. If you look at our southern border, the number of people and the amount of drugs, human trafficking. The human trafficking is something that nobody used to talk about. I talk about it. It's a terrible thing. It's ancient, and it's never been bigger than it is modern right now, today. All over the world, by the way, not just here, all over the world. Human trafficking, a terrible thing.
As you can see from his message, he's making it perfectly clear. There is no more room here in the U.S. Now, something very interesting about this Mar-a-Lago. It doesn't really make any sense. And we're starting to get a clearer and clearer picture. Now, this is very interesting. Democrats are making a very big deal about the break-in at Mar-a-Lago. Remember, Trump uses this location to hold meetings. The reason he does this is because it is secure and he knows there'll be no leaks. He started to go down there when there were leaks coming out of Washington. So when Trump holds meetings at Mar-a-Lago, the deep state is completely blacked out. So the Democrats have sounded the alarm over Zhang's ability to penetrate Trump's Florida club. Let me continue with this. The apparent ease with which Ms. Zhang gained access to the facility during the president's weekend visit raises concerns about the system for screening visitors, including the reliance on determinations made by Mar-a-Lago employees. Now, this is a letter from Senate Intelligence Committee Ranking Member Mark Warner, Senate Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Dianne Feinstein, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Why are they so concerned about this? Are they concerned for the well-being of Trump? No. Let me continue. As the White House Communications Agency and Secret Service continue to establish several secure areas at Mar-a-Lago for handling classified information when the president travels there, these potential vulnerabilities have serious national security implications. This is what this letter says. So think about what they're saying here. This woman decides to come to Mar-a-Lago, and now there's signs that she might have been there before, a couple of times, and she brings malware and a laptop, has 2 Chinese passports. Now, one, this could be used to try to mess up the trade deal with China, saying, oh, look, the Chinese are spying on you. Maybe we shouldn't have a trade deal. Or are these individuals, and this is coming from Feinstein, Schumer, and Warner, are they trying to force Trump out of Mar-a-Lago and have his meetings back up in D.C.? Because when he's down in Mar-a-Lago, they don't know what's going on. This, to me, sounds like a false flag. It sounds like a setup to raise concerns about security in this area, and why should Trump be in this area if we have these security concerns? Maybe he should hold the meetings back up in Washington. Remember, they don't get any information from Mar-a-Lago. They were getting information in D.C. And I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a case where he needs to hold the meetings back up in D.C. And this is why Trump is out there saying it's not a big deal. Now, Trump is just playing this down. He knows exactly what's going on here. He knows what happened. And guess what? Their plan is not going to work. We have Nadler, Cummings, Schiff, all blocked trying to get Trump's records. We have these individuals trying to force him back up to D.C. to have meetings so they can try to get information from him. They are trying so desperately to do things, it's not working. Think about what is working for the Patriots. The economic plan is on schedule. Structure changes coming to the Fed. All the sealed indictments, the D-class and the OIG report ready to be used and issued out to the public. The Mueller report is coming very soon, this month in April. Once that is out, that's it. Their insurance policy, everything that they had is completely gone. This is why they're so desperate right now. Now, I know that Q has been dark right now. He's gone dark. Q has done this before. This means they're working on something. And Q likes to go dark. He likes to see what people are saying. He likes to monitor, and I don't know if it's a he, I'm just saying he. Q likes to monitor what is going on the 8chan boards and everywhere else. Q is observing. So don't get worried that we have not heard from Q. Q is always there. And again, they're working on other stages of the plan. As you can see, the plan now is unfolding. This is when the mainstream media, this is when the propaganda, this is when everything starts to come full force, where they're going to try to make it seem like Trump, the Patriots, they have nothing, we have it all. But it's actually the opposite. Trump and the Patriots, they have it all. They hold the key to every locked door. And the deep state, they know this. They know once they start using these keys and start unlocking these doors, guess what? The public is going to see what's behind them. And like Q says, it's going to unite the people, because this will have nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This will have to do with treasonous traitors. This will have to do with sex cults. This will have to do with human trafficking. This will have to do with spying on a president. This will have to do with all of this wrapped up into one. And this is what the deep state is so afraid of. There's no place to hide anymore. They're doomed. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.